Welcome back to the Chapter Chats and Chill podcast.
Your cozy reading nook where we talk everything about books, tropes, fave characters, and more. This is Elena.
This is Maroua.
And Emma. And we invite you to get comfortable, grab a cup of tea or coffee, and get ready to enter a world where stories come true. All right, welcome back to Chapter Chats and Chill. Today is a very special and unique episode in its own because we're going to review the book of the month, which is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Kuri Wang. Hope my pronunciation is good. And okay, so at first I was attracted to this book because of its amazing cover. Anything marketing just captivates my attention too much, to be honest. And so I forced Maroua and Elena to read the book with me. No, I'm joking, but you willingly accepted, right?
Well, we didn't have much of a choice since it's your mom.
Oops. Okay. So this is the introduction to the book. So if you haven't read the book and the cover intrigued you as well as it did for us, you can stay tuned and we're just going to give you a couple of hints and spoiler-free version of the book review. The full version with a lot of spoilers will come next week. So if you want to dig deeper into the book, you can also stay tuned for next episode. The synopsis, girls. So this book is about Mina. She's, I think, a 17-year-old, right? 16, 17.
16, I think,
16.
in the beginning of the book, yeah.
Okay. And it's set in Korea, isn't it? Yeah, kind of like a retelling, right? So the synopsis goes as deadly storms have ravaged Mina's homeland for generations. Floods sweep away entire villages while bloody wars are waged over the few remaining resources. Her people believe the sea god, once their protector, now curses them with death and despair. In an attempt to appease him, each year a beautiful maiden is thrown into the sea to serve as the sea god's bride, in the hopes that one day the true bride will be chosen and end the suffering. Many believe that Shim Chong, the most beautiful girl in the village and the beloved of Mina's older brother Jun, may be the legendary true bride. But on the night Chong is to be sacrificed, Yun follows Chong out of the sea, even knowing that to interfere is a death sentence. To save her brother, Mina throws herself into the water in Chong's stead. So, I don't know if we want to continue because I feel like this is like a good point to leave it there and not make spoilers as promised. What was your experience, girls?
For me, I have mixed feelings about this book. At the beginning, I was very intrigued because a lot of people compared it to the anime Spirited Away by Miyazaki. I don't know if you've watched it or not.
Nope.
You should watch it. Actually, you should watch all of his animes because he's really talented and they're like amazing stories and the music is incredible and it's really touching. They're so good. So I highly recommend it. But yeah, like a lot of readers said that they have the same vibes. And since I love the anime, I was really excited to start this novel. And sure, I mean, there are some elements that are somehow similar, like how the main protagonist, Mina, was suddenly thrown into a new world filled with spirits and gods. And like there are also dragons and sea snakes. These two are also present in both scenarios. I like a story about dragons, like I'm immediately sold. So I was really intrigued to start this book. And I really like the myth of the sea god and the whole concept behind it. So I really enjoyed the stories of Mina and her grandmother. Like they really add a plus to the book and make it more unique. Because since it's a Korean folklore, we're not used to these kind of myths. So it was really a pleasant surprise.
I agree. I loved the element of the grandparents and the ancestors, and grandparents' love is very much present, in my opinion, throughout the whole book, which is extra cute. And I don't know, it makes the story extra special, in my opinion.
I think that if you want to read something that is a little bit different, Korean folklore you cannot really find anywhere. It's not that common, and the fact that you're gonna support a pop author, going outside of your comfort zone, even though you like fantasy, but try to explore a little bit more the world of fantasy. I think it's a good way to start with Korean kind of book. But I don't know. I also have mixed feelings. And Good Point is a standalone. So if you are like not really want to start a trilogy or a book series, you can just go with that. I also love the connection between the characters and, as you said, girl, the ancestors, and the fact that you were so bond with family. Like family is at the center of this book.
I agree with both of you girls. I liked some parts of the story and definitely the unique point of view that is, from a completely different culture. I loved some of the themes because throughout the book you go through like death a little bit, and also one's destiny, finding your own path, and the concept of fate and destiny, and how much is really like how much you can control it, how much you should just give into what is fate and destiny, which I think is a very, I don't know, it's always fascinated me so much, even when I studied philosophy in high school. Like these are the topics that sometimes I start thinking about it at night or during the day, and it's very much of a conundrum for me. So I really love thinking about it. I loved the family love, some of the characters especially, and some of the plot twists, but in my opinion, there were also a lot of plot holes. Some things didn't really make so much sense to me. And this book made me curious to also read a translation of the original tale, because I don't know, maybe it's just that I'm used to a different type of storytelling. I'm used to a more Western culture. And so maybe there is like a cultural barrier in how I perceived the story. But yeah, there were some elements that didn't really convince me. And should we share our ratings? Yeah, I give it 2.5 stars out of 5, which is very rare for me.
Same for me.
Same too. I think more words towards 2, but also between 2 and 2.5. But because I want to be more brutal with my ratings this year, not because I want to just like, put down others or whatever, but just because I want to be real with my ratings. Because sometimes I'm just like, oh no, it's okay, it's not that much, but it's 3 stars, but it's not. But I'm always saying that people should read books from like wherever other people sees the review, because they should always make their own opinion about the books. Most of the time, especially I think in Italian, there is this tendency to like crush an author or a book, and people are like, okay, if she said that this book is like garbage, I'm not gonna read it. No, you have to. If you want to, it's okay. You have to make your own opinion about the books, because she's like just a person and you are another person. Maybe you can love the book. And I think this is really important. If you want to really read the books, you should do it anyway. And you should support book authors.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And especially, I don't know, for me, this is especially true for female authors, because my perception, I'm also interested in hearing what you think, if you agree or not, because it's always like a personal opinion, as you were saying, also in personal tastes. But my perception is that we're usually a little bit more harsh in judgment on female authors or artists or actresses, or like just the female population in general. And so I feel like I definitely feel the pressure sometimes from book talk or in the readers community, I guess, that some books are really like looked upon, and also kind of the judgment of, oh, if you're reading this type of books or books from this specific author, you don't really know what reading is about, like something even like that. And I really think that no matter, what we're going to say during the full book review with spoilers that is coming next week, or even right now, like if this plot interests you, nothing should stop you from giving it a go and seeing if the book is actually to your taste. Maybe something to be mentioned that could be interesting or useful to people listening to this episode are the tropes from this book. And I'm kind of trying to think back on what tropes we did find about it.
It's kind of an enemies to lovers, no?
Yeah, a
little bit, yeah.
To allies, to enemies, to
And
lovers,
also the chosen one.
Yes.
And also, I perceived it's not really a love triangle, but kind of, in a way.
I have an opinion about that, but it contains spoilers, so I'm not gonna say more about it now. But I'm definitely gonna say more about it later.
Okay.
Yeah. And which is also good with the book is that it's smut-free, which
Mhm.
is again appreciable in my case, especially during Ramadan. So it's really good. And also
Oh.
it's a light read and it's fairly fast paced, so you can
Mm.
easily recommend it for early teenagers. It's short, it's fast paced, it's one shot. So for children, I think it could be a really good read.
Absolutely. I also have a confession. So, because I started reading this book a little bit too late with respect to my usual reading pace, I'm quite a slow reader and want to also say no shame in that if you're also a slow reader. But yeah, so I was actually reading Kingdom of Ash. And so I think if you've read the book, you can understand why I was so reluctant to put it down momentarily. And
I
so
do. I understand.
Thank you. And it's also, Mara, it's partially your fault because you got me back into reading Throne of Glass, which is actually a very good thing. So thank you for that. And so I did for the second time in my life the kind of tandem read between the physical book and the audiobook. And the audiobook was very, very nice because the voice actress is British. And so it was very lovely to listen to a story told by I guess, from the accent, a British person. So it's also a very
And
nice
Emma,
option.
where did you find the audiobook?
On Audible, unfortunately.
I like the unfortunately part.
Yeah.
Very important.
I mean, the quality is usually good, obviously, but the price is, in my opinion, a little bit too high. But hopefully, maybe in the future, if audiobooks really take off and become more frequently used, maybe the cost will decrease a little bit. Hopefully, Audible, if you're listening, we're also open for partnerships. Why
Brand
not?
deal.
I also really liked how almost 90% of the story happens beneath the sea.
Oh,
I find
yeah.
it refreshing to change scenery like this
Mhm.
because we're not used once again to this kind of stories.
It's very cool. Yeah, I loved it as well. I did have kind of like a hard time picturing some things though. Like, I think maybe the descriptions, if they were a little bit more vivid or, yeah, different style, maybe that would have helped me a little bit more with picturing things, but maybe it's just like a personal thing. I need very explicit sometimes descriptions.
Actually, I had the same feeling. Like, I also had trouble imagining certain scenes, but above all, I had trouble imagining the physical appearance of most of the
Yes.
characters, I'd say.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons that I was a bit not like bored, but I couldn't get attached to the protagonists, and there were a lot of them, so sometimes I got a bit lost also. I don't know what you think.
Same.
100% agree, and that's why I went on Pinterest, because I had to
Ooh.
like imagine the character and also the word binding, because sometimes there were like some shade holes, and I was like, okay, so how is she dressed? Like, what is going on here? I need to know. And I went on Pinterest. I was like, that's completely different, or how I imagine it. It's even better. So I was like,
Okay.
there are some good pictures there.
I want to have a look.
It's difficult when you don't know the character, like how they are physically done. I mean,
How they look.
yeah, you need to know.
Okay, Pinterest, the fan fictions are very fun art
Fun
are very
art.
cute. Yeah. Okay. Almost makes me want to give it a half a star more, but I'm not going to
Not enough. You have to be.
You have to be strong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, I don't know about you girls, but I found that some of the dialogues were bizarre and kind of caricatured. And the worst part is that these dialogues were during important scenes. So I found it like really hard to sympathize with the characters once again. And it was just like detached.
Yeah. And I had a similar feeling with the descriptions. And what I mean by that, because earlier I said I wanted more like vivid descriptions, but at the same time, I think sometimes like what happens was too explicit and we were walked through like literally everything that happened without, you know, how sometimes authors use indirect ways to kind of convey how the characters are feeling instead of exactly describing what is happening. They kind of give you the feeling without saying what is happening. That wasn't, in my opinion, present in this book. Maybe it's because it's a tale. And so it's, I don't know if it's supposed to be also like a children's tale. Like I think it's suitable for every age. And so maybe that's why I felt this way about this book. Like it's not a children book, but at the same time, it's very easy to read and to go through because it doesn't really have like I don't know how to describe it.
For me, it kind of lacked some depth and complexity, and also maybe some darkness, because I felt
Yes.
like everything was a bit shallow and not well detailed. Like, yeah, sure, there are descriptions, but we like the important details, like the things that make you feel stuff,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. 100%.
And for me, for example, as you said, conversation looked to be so calculated sometimes and unnatural. And as you just said, like things happen in without a logical reason. Sometimes
yes,
they go from A to B. Yes, but why?
and how? How?
There is no reason. Like,
Yeah.
and also as Emma said, like I don't like when books say, oh, this thing happens and then this other thing happen. Like, I like when the character is telling you that, or just showing you why
Mm,
they went from A to B. Like, it has to be natural. It has to be something that
yes, it has to go smoothly.
exactly. But it was completely lacking here.
Yeah, I felt like the chapters were kind of disjointed, especially the
Yeah.
first one, which was, I mean, honestly, for me, it was kind of incomprehensible because we're directly projected in the middle of an intense scene with zero explanation and zero background of what's happening. So it really took me some time to get into the story properly.
So it's like the editor said, okay, we can cut this part and we add this other part, and then nobody read the whole thing. Like, okay, we have this cut, and then let's make a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've kind of roasted the book a little bit. No, there are also, like, as we said, good and maybe less good elements in our opinion. And we strongly encourage you to make your own opinion and let us know if you read the book, how you find it. And also, if anyone listening has more insights on the original tale, I'm going actually to just read it out of curiosity, and because I think it's also important to, I don't know, like inform ourselves without necessarily relying on other people to educate us, especially when it comes to different cultures. So I think that's definitely also important to do. But if you have any insights on the original tale as well, just let us know. It would be very much appreciated.
So I've picked some quotes that I liked. I don't know if you girls did that too, but they were actually pretty cute scenes. Anyway, one of my quotes says, "Who are you to say what my fate is? If I am to fail or if I am to succeed, my fate is not yours to decide. My fate belongs to me."
Lovely. Yeah, some of the quotes are really, really good. Love them. And I have quite a few as well. Also, one of mine is about fate, and that is, "Don't chase fate, Mina, let fate chase you."
I picked that one too. I really
very
liked
simple,
that quote.
but yeah, right? It
Mm.
goes straight to the point.
And I have another one, which is for our bookish friends here. And it says, "The memories of spirits and gods might be hazy, but not the memories of books. Stories are eternal."
Oh, I didn't remember that one. It's lovely.
Yes, I know, right?
I also have one, and it says, nothing extraordinary is ever done out of reason or logic, but because it's the only way for your soul to breathe.
With these wonderful quotes, I believe we could wrap up this episode, right?
Mm, yes,
And
yes.
guys, if this book intrigued you, stay tuned for next week's episode, which is going to be full of spoilers. So also beware if you decide to listen to it. Otherwise, you can always save it for once you're done with the book. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into Chapter Chat and Chill.
If you loved this episode, make sure you give it a 5-star rating, thumbs up, and comment below what you want to hear next.
To stay connected in between episodes, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Chapter Chats and Chill.